First up, we're going to have Casey. I'll read you a little bit about his bio. He's a 2002 graduate of Miami University. His degree's in marketing. He's got 12 years of experience in the logistics industry, and he's been with ODOT, Ohio DOT, ODOT, because we have 3 ODOTs, for 4 months. So we'll turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm giving a brief overview of our third-party parts management program that was started back at the beginning of 2012. So bear with me, it's my first presentation in front of a large group, so we'll get started here. Just a quick outline of what I'm going to talk about here today. Kind of the parts management process before the contract went into effect. What some of the procedures were that mechanics and ODOT personnel had to go through to order a part. The RFP process that the Ohio Department of Transportation went through. After that process, implementation and how the state is set up currently with our third-party provider. Just some of the current state of our third-party contract, some of the benefits and future goals. So I'll try to be as short as I possibly can here. Before the parts contract went into place, mechanics and part room personnel used credit cards to make their purchases for any type of part for equipment around the state. Anything above $2,500 had to be quoted out to various vendors. I guess between $2,500 and $50,000. All other purchases had to be contracted through our contracts department. Mechanics had to navigate through contract price lists to find items they needed and vendors they could use. ODOT cannot spend more than $50,000 with a non-contract vendor statewide. So those are some of the issues pre-contract. Moving forward, again, some other issues. Parts were received manually into inventory by ODOT employees into an EMS system, which just means equipment management system. If a part was not assigned a stock number, it had to be created manually. So you can kind of see a trend here pre-contract with what the mechanics and the ODOT personnel had to go through. A lot of time-consuming parts to just ordering a specific part for equipment. Invoices for purchase parts had to be stickered with purchase information and sit to accounting to have the bills paid. After parts were paid for and received by accounting, the parts could be charged to an actual ODOT work order or equipment. ODOT had to certify 100% of consumable inventory annually to the Department of Administrative Service and Office of Budget Management. This was significant in the amount of time lost calculating these parts. Continuing, mechanics were spending too much time buying parts or completing paperwork and not working on equipment. Contracts and equipment offices spent way too much time creating and bidding annual parts contracts. Making adjustments to inventory was tedious, inefficient, and time-consuming. Too many employees involved in the purchasing and inventory of parts. So again, you can see kind of the trend pre-contract. In 2011, ODOT began the process of privatizing the parts procurement process. Over several months, ODOT employees put together a set of requirements and issued a request for a proposal. Beginning of 2012, vendors presented their process to ODOT. They were scored on requirements that ODOT had assembled for the parts program. On 9/1 of 2012, a 3-year contract went into effect. There were also two-year renewals built into this contract. So at this point, we are on the first renewal. So we're in the 4th year, and the first renewal runs out next summer. If ODOT, if Ohio Department of Transportation decides to move forward with the third-party vendor again, that contract will run out at the end of June of 2017. Implementation. ManCon was selected as a successful bidder and began to operate ODOT's parts service. ODOT chose to have one main vendor-managed parts room at our central garage location here in Columbus and in each of the other district locations around the state. ODOT opened one ManCon location at a time. The process started in the fall of 2012, a few months before winter. ODOT opened the southern locations first so that it did not affect Ohio's snow and ice operations. The northern part of the state, or the snow belt locations, opened last. ManCon offices were opened one at a time until all 12 were up and running. Most bugs, paperwork, system issues were resolved for each location before moving on to the next location. As far as fees go, ManCon charges ODOT, or the Ohio Department of Transportation, a yearly usage fee plus any time needed for overtime. Most of that overtime comes, as you can probably guess, during the winter months. ManCon makes no money on parts sold to ODOT. ODOT reimburses ManCon for the purchase price. Again, currently ManCon operates 12 locations around the state, all within ODOT-owned buildings. Many are located inside the district's old parts room. Each location generally operates about 40 hours per week. ManCon can purchase parts or components for ODOT, Ohio Department of Transportation vehicles and equipment, hand tools, shop supplies, paint and body supplies, and rental equipment for ODOT maintenance operations. Mechanics and ODOT personnel now request, so this is after the contract was put in place, obviously. Mechanics and ODOT personnel now can request parts directly from an EIMS system. EIMS just means Enterprise Information Management System. ManCon charges the part directly to the open repair order. Employees no longer need to receive and charge parts. Obviously, this makes purchasing items much faster and more efficient. All 88 ODOT locations do have a limited shelf stock maintained by ManCon at their location. When I say all 88 locations, I'm talking about every county and some of the outposts in each county as well. When an order is placed by an ODOT employee, ManCon pulls the parts from the district shelf or purchases the parts from a store to replenish stock. The parts are placed in a bin for the ODOT location that ordered them. ODOT employees, or as we say, pony drivers, deliver the parts to the county and outposts that requested them. Most locations have a delivery every day or at the minimum every other day. As far as the setup goes, again, I guess continuing with the setup, the ODOT location can add or remove items monthly from their stock as needed. Typically, shelf stock includes batteries, hydraulic hoses, windshield washer fluid, wiper blades, lubricants, etc. Mechanics place an order for any item taken from shelf stock in the EIMS system, and ManCon automatically refills that stock, or I guess that part. ManCon owns all shelf stock and it is on consignment until ODOT uses it. Now kind of moving into the current state of our parts standardization contract. In February, which is basically when I started with the Ohio Department of Transportation, we began working with all 12 districts and ManCon on parts standardization. The main goals of this project were to create uniformity around the state and create cost savings by being able to order in bulk quantities. We began with small parts like oil filters, lubricants, and antifreeze. And just recently, we've started to transition into larger larger items such as strobe lights and hydraulic systems. To date, ODOT has standardized 15 parts this year. So in the last 6 months or 5 months since I've been with ODOT, we've standardized 15 parts. ODOT is on pace to save $30,000 compared to buying these same parts in 2015. I guess in the grand scheme of things, $30,000 doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking about oil filters and lubricant and those type of small priced items, $30,000 is pretty significant. Some of the benefits that we've recognized since this contract went into place, we've increased the focus on ODOT's main mission, which is to maintain the fleet and get vehicles back on the road. We've reduced part investigation time by mechanics and ODOT employees. We've eliminated the time required to drive to pick up parts. Most mechanics around the state would, if they needed a part for an oil change, they would have to go pick up that part from a parts store and come back before they could start working on their equipment. Increased focus on maintaining equipment rather than purchasing parts, and increased parts availability. Some more benefits include increased data quality by utilizing vendor part numbers and SKUs, reduce ODOT's manpower requirements to run the program, and we've helped eliminate ODOT's costs to maintain our own inventory. Also, we've kind of narrowed down the point of contact to one person, kind of a liaison between ManCon and the Ohio Department of Transportation, which is kind of what my role is currently. Kind of concluding here today, some of our future goals include continuing the part standardization process across the state to hopefully recognize additional cost savings. Right now, ManCon's nav system or their interface does not talk to ODOT's EIMS system. So another goal of ours is to integrate those two systems with the help of each company's IT departments. So we're currently working on that, and we hope to have that, we hope to move along with that process shortly. Another future goal is to develop KPIs to better understand cost savings and efficiencies. I know after today, that's one of my main focuses is creating KPIs. And hopefully by integrating the two systems between each company, we can better track those to better understand cost savings and efficiencies. And then the last goal is to investigate other ODOT sectors. Hopefully we can we can leverage the benefits of the ManCon contract by increasing the scope of the inventory under their management. So different departments basically, like the safety department, traffic, and facilities departments. So maybe in the near future we can broaden our contract with ManCon to include some of those other departments as well. And that's all I have for today.